Hi guys, today we're going to chunk and paragraph shrink another story. Today we're going to do this with Max's Good Habit. So come on. All right, the first thing that a good reader does is they read the title and they make some sort of prediction. So this is called Max's Good Habit. I'm looking around to see, there's a little drawn picture there. It looks like maybe that's Max. Looks like he's reading something or other. Throughout this story, I'm going to actually be thinking to myself, is this fiction or nonfiction? Because I know that the author's purpose for writing a fiction story is so that I would enjoy it. And the author's purpose for writing a nonfiction story is to teach me something. And of course, my job in reading a fiction story is to enjoy it. And my job as a reader for a nonfiction story is to learn something from it. So let's see what we can do here. Max's Good Habit. You may follow along with me, or you can just listen to me. Max reads more than anyone he knows. He loves to read during all of his free time. His friends tease him because he would rather read than play video games, but his parents and his teachers are proud of him. They say reading is important and it will help him learn about the world around him. They also tell him it's a good habit to read on a regular basis. All right, to begin with, we are going to be in this paragraph shrinking. I've already chunked off all the parts of the story together, so I'm looking for the who or what. And in this case, we are talking about Max. He's our who. All right, what is something about Max that we've read about here that we want to remember? Max loves to read, okay? And then in the last part, it's putting it all together in 10 words or less to kind of help me remember this chunk. And I wrote that Max has a good habit of reading. Okay, from the sounds of this, this is almost making me think that maybe I'm leaning towards a fiction kind of a story. Something that doesn't have true facts in it, something that's going to have characters, a problem solution, but I'm going to have to keep reading to find out. But that's what I'm kind of thinking of right now. One day Max was reading a magazine article about volcanoes. He told his friends all about volcanoes and what causes them to erupt. The very next week, his class was assigned a science project about volcanoes. Guess who everyone wanted in their project group? I would too. Max's friends weren't teasing him anymore, so I'm thinking they won in the group. All right, so my who or what is going to remain, oh, no, I'm sorry. Now it's not going to be Max as our main person. It's actually going to be the class, okay? Max is reading a magazine, but the class is actually going to have something happen. They're assigned a volcano project, okay? And so the class wants to work with Max on this volcano project, okay? Again, this is leading me to think that this is probably more of a fiction story. All right, I'm still not getting facts and information at this point. Max ended up being in a group with Liz, Anna, and Josh. The assignment was to create a poster board with information about volcanoes and to build a volcano model. Max made copies of the magazine article about volcanoes so his project partners could read about them, too. They also went to the library to look for more information about volcanoes. All right, in this case, Max is going to be our who, and what he does in here is he's actually helping his group. All right, he's providing them with some materials. And so I wrote that Max used reading to learn more about volcanoes. So again, we're trying to keep that in 10 words or less so that when I go back and I'm looking at the edge of my paper and I've just jotted these few ideas down, it's going to kind of bring back to reminder what I read about. I'm still thinking towards a fiction kind of story. The group met at Anna's house that night to organize the information and decide what they wanted to put on the poster board. They all asked Max what he thought was most important. Then they decided on the following together. What causes volcanoes to erupt? The release of pressure when magma rises up through cracks in the Earth's crust causes volcanoes to erupt. How do volcanoes form? Lava from eruptions cools and forms new crust. The crust builds up after several eruptions to form a volcano. How hot is lava? Lava can get as hot as 1,165 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, that's interesting. All right, in this part, the who is actually the group now. We're not talking about one particular person. We're actually talking about the group. And what happened with the group? They're actually working together at this time in the story. And in my 10 words or less, I said that the group worked together on their poster board. All right, let's keep reading. The next night, they met at Josh's house to build the volcano. They used cardboard and modeling clay. First, they made a volcano shape with the cardboard, and then they covered the shape in brown and red clay. The red was lava flowing down the volcano. They also attached red clay to the top of the volcano to make it look like it was erupting. The volcano looked great. Max, Liz, Anna, and Josh were very proud of their hard work. When they turned in their project, their teacher was proud too. Thanks to Max's good habit, they earned an A+ on both parts of the project. All right, my who or what is going to be the group again this time. What was important about the group is that they actually built their volcano at this time. All right, they turned it into their teacher. And so I said to put it all sort of together is that the group built their volcano and got an A+. So they finished their project. All right, and this is actually the end of our story. So now as I'm thinking back, even though there were a couple of interesting facts put in here, they talked about the magma and the different things with the volcano, this was still a story in which I would consider this a fiction story. It had characters, it had a setting, so this is going to be considered a fiction story. All right, now we're going to see time to show what we know. So here's some questions, and on this particular one, there was fill in the blanks. So I went back and looked for my text evidence, and I actually am going to bring it up and show you. So question number 1, what would Max rather do than play video games? I went back into my story, and I actually found this as my text evidence. It says here that he loves to read during all of his free time. Maybe I should put the highlighter. He loves to read during all of his free time, and his friends tease him because he would rather read than play video games. So with that, I can actually use that text evidence to have me choose the answer of read. That's what he'd rather do. The next one, what type of science project was his class assigned? I went back into my text evidence and I am reading along, and I can see that the very next week his class was assigned a science project about volcanoes. So that's why my answer choice was volcanoes. Who wanted Max in their project group? Ooh, I could go back and look on the side of my paper where I'd been doing some writing, some paragraph shrinking, and this would have helped me out with that. And that's what I did when I went back and found my proof. Who wanted Max in their group? It says, guess who wanted everyone in their project group? Max's friends weren't teasing him anymore. So this isn't a direct, this would be more of a drawing conclusion or an inference. I'm going to assume that because Max's friends aren't teasing him anymore and everyone wants to be in this project, I think all of his friends wanted to be in that project. All right. How many people were in Max's group? This was a little tricky if you didn't pay close attention. So I went back into my story, and it says Max ended up being in a group with Liz, Anna, and Josh. Now, some people might say, well, that means there was 3, but you had to count Max also. So there were 4 people in his group. Where did the group meet on the second night? This also was a little tricky. So I went back into my story and I found this. The group met at Anna's house that night to organize the information. All right, then I kept on reading and I found in another section, the next night they met at Josh's house. So that would be the second night. And my answer choice would be at Josh's house. What is Max's good habit? Why is it good? All right, the first question is really simple. What is Max's good habit? I went in and I actually found that um, that reading, well, actually, let's go here. I put it back. So they say that reading's important, okay? And they also tell him that it's a good habit to read on regular basis. So his reading was his good habit, but why is it good? That's a little bit more where I have to take something and I have to understand it and put it in my own words. So I'm actually, that's kind of a think and search type of thing, type of question. All right, so it says, they say reading is important. It will help him learn about the world around him. And then it says at the bottom there, here's another piece of text evidence. Thanks to Max's good habit, they earned an A+ on both of their projects. So my answer choice was that Max's good habit is reading, which was a right there kind of question. But reading is a good habit because it can help you learn and do well in school. So it's for multiple things. All right, believe it or not, we are done with story number 3 from the county. All right, this was a fiction story, and I hope you practice going back into the story, finding your answers, highlighting your text evidence, and that you were choosing correct answers. More importantly, guys, I hope that you are reading, reading, reading. Till next time, bye-bye.